Hi, and welcome to week 4. This is like the 4th time I'm recording this, so hopefully no glitches. We're going to be learning about macromolecules this week, and I have a nice little Lego demonstration for you. And I'm going to go over the plan for the week. I'm going to go over this first activity so you know how to do it, and hopefully 4th time's a charm. But just to introduce macromolecules a little bit, there are 4 big molecules. That's what macromolecule means. Big molecules that make up all living things. So all living things, you, your cat, the tree, are made out of 4 macromolecules: carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. So in order to make us, or in order to make you, and in order for you to grow and repair and have energy, you need these 4 macromolecules. Well, how do we get these 4 macromolecules? We get them by eating things. And so you can tell this is the 4th time because I don't even care what this looks like anymore. But what do you think I made? It's a sandwich. It's a sandwich. So here we have the bread. The blue stuff is the bread, which is my carb. Here's the red stuff, which is representing protein. It's my turkey sandwich. Here's some fat or lipids, which is the green. And so I need to eat this sandwich in order to get the carbs, lipids, and proteins that my body needs to continue to grow hair. I'm not really growing taller, but to continue to repair and everything that, you know, my blood cells need to be replaced, hormones need to be created, food needs to be digested with enzymes. So all of that requires these guys. Now, I can't just take the turkey meat and put the turkey meat as my muscle. I need to break this down and reassemble it to make the protein that I need. So for example, if I'm going to eat this, I'm going to break apart the carbs, and that's going to give me energy. That's going to release energy as I break it down. The protein, okay, basically everything in your body is made out of protein. And it's kind of like a car. Everything, all the hard parts of the car that you're sitting in and driving and holding, that's all protein. The gas is like your carb. The gas is the energy for the car. So protein is like the car or your body, and carbs are what give your body fuel. So if you put too much gas in and you don't burn it up, then it turns to fat. Here's my protein. Okay, so this was the turkey meat. So what my body does is it breaks this protein down into smaller units called amino acids. These are the building blocks of protein. And so that's why those guys who want to build big muscles, or women, they take those protein powder shakes. Sometimes they're called amino something, but amino acids are just the building blocks of protein. So I'm going to digest my turkey sandwich, and then these building blocks get reassembled to make whatever protein my body needs. If it's more muscle, if it's a red blood cell, if it's an enzyme, if it's hair cells, if it's bone cells, skin cells, all of that is protein. So I reassemble it to make the protein I need. So it's really important to have protein. My daughter was a vegetarian for a while, and she did not want to eat any kind of meat. Now there's protein in other food sources like beans and nuts and tofu, but you know, she wasn't eating a lot of that either. So if you're not eating protein, then you can't build this. You can't build your body to have enough building blocks to grow and build itself. So protein is really critical. And then I'll take the fat, and that breaks down out of my sandwich, and then my body will reassemble it to make whatever things that require lipids. So like, for example, all cell membranes are made out of lipids. And so it might reassemble this into a cell membrane. So I hope that made sense to you, but we're going to be looking closely at those. And I just wanted to show you, oh, I guess my picture is gone. All right, I'll show you what we're doing. So here is going to be, the main point this week is to analyze some diets. So if you've heard of the keto diet, you know, low carb, low fat, those are the real popular ones. Intermittent fasting. I have a friend who's really into juicing. She thinks juicing is like the way to go. She thinks she's like detoxing by juicing. And so you're going to look at those diets with an understanding of macromolecules, and you're going to be able to see the pros and cons, whether there's any long-term risk of not eating carbs or not eating fats, or, you know, whatever that diet is saying to do, or, you know, fasting for a certain amount of time. So that's what the goal is at the end of this, is to have this discussion about fad diets. They're not really all fad diets. A lot of them are really legit diets that are quite helpful. And in order to do that, I just want you to be comfortable with these macromolecules if you're not already. So these are the assignments. The first one is this macromolecule paper activity. It's a little, you know, going back to elementary school, but I'm going to go over this at the end so that you can know how to do that. You're going to turn that in. And then the second day, you're going to be getting all the vocabulary and, you know, kind of the reading. I like to do the reading after the activity, because sometimes if you're doing the reading without having any hands-on activity with it, then it just kind of goes in one eye and out the other, and it just feels overwhelming and there's a lot of information. But hopefully, after doing this activity, this will make a lot more sense. Okay, so you're going to do that reading guide. All the answers are in the reading, and you're just going to turn that in. The last assignment on the macromolecules kind of basics is going to be this chart. And you're just going to fill in this chart with the information that you know so far. If you need a quick reference, you can look at this slideshow, which goes through each one. So it goes through the carbs, proteins, and lipids. And then this is a great video with the Amoeba sisters. They go over biomolecules in their cute little way with the cartoons and everything. Okay, and just to kind of take a look quickly at this, for this chart, most of it is going to be really easy to fill in, but there's a couple sections that you might have a question on. So here you're just going to put down, is it a carb, protein, lipid, nucleic acid? Nucleic acids I haven't mentioned yet. Those are your DNA and RNA, and those aren't necessarily nutrients, but they're in every cell, and they make up all living things as well. We're going to focus on DNA and RNA later when we study genetics, but they are considered a macromolecule. So those are this column. Here you're going to tell me what elements each one is made out of. Are they made out of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen? And you'll notice that all of them are made out of the same 6 elements. So some are made out of 3, some are made out of 4, some are made out of more. But the total of all these elements are just 6. And that's why this is called a mere 6 ingredients, because all living things are basically made out of 6 elements. That's how sort of simple we are in some ways. That the tree is made out of these 6 elements, your cat is made out of these 6 elements, and we are made out of these six elements. They're pretty amazing elements, and especially carbon is in there because carbon bonds with a lot of things. Here you're going to mention what the monomer or the small unit is. So like for instance, if this is my carb, okay, and carbs are made out of lots of monomers. And so, you know, this is this is actually a polymer because there's many pieces that make up this, many subunits, and this would be a monomer. So carbohydrates are made out of monomers. Sometimes there's 2 of them, sometimes there's 3 of them, sometimes there's a lot of them, and they make up carbs. Same thing, proteins are made out of monomers. So this would be 1 amino acid, but then when you link them together, we call it a protein. The shape, you can just put like chain of glucose or chain of amino acids. For the lipids, you're going to do the little glycerol and fatty acid chain, which we're going to make in a second. And then for DNA, it's going to be double helix or single-stranded RNA. This is going to all be in your notes or slideshow, so you should be fine with that. Okay, and then so here's your references, and then here you're going to turn in your macromolecule chart there. Then here is going to be your discussion. It sort of seems like a really in-depth research paper, but I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for kind of give me just the gist of this diet. What are we cutting out? What are we trying to eat more of? And what is it claiming to do? Is this something that you would recommend someone to do? These sites are really informative. If you go, especially on the Diet Doctor sites, if you go all the way down, they have all the information. They talk about their risks. They talk about, the benefits, health concerns, anything like that. So just kind of pull the information that relates to what I'm asking, try to write in your own words, and then submit that. It's going to be about, I think it's 35 points. So it's, it's not a huge lab. It's not worth like a big lab or a big other activity, but I just want you to be able to show that you understand this diet in light of your understanding of carbs, proteins, and lipids. Okay, and then you can, the last day, just wrap up whatever else you need to do, and you can see if this, this video by Bozeman makes sense. He kind of just goes through the macromolecules one more time, and it's just a nice like review of everything. Do I understand this? Okay, there might be a couple things you're not quite sure on, but for the most part, this should make sense, and then you'll be ready for next week's digestion and enzymes activities. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to this activity right here, monomers. Okay, so you only have to cut out 1 sheet. I put 2, and let's take a look at this activity. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with my phone in a moment so you can see my desk. But here, these pre-lab questions, what does poly mean? Poly means many. And so, all these macromolecules are made out of many units. So many subunits. So polymer is made out of many subunits, and mono just means 1. So macromolecules are known as polymers because they're made out of many subunits, many monomers. And hopefully you know the 4 types: carbs, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. So that's our pre-lab. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over, and let me pause this recording while I get it. Okay, so here is my screen, and hopefully I'm also going to be working through my lab. Okay, so first thing it asks you to do is cut out all the monomers in a solid line. So that's sort of what I did here. Okay, I cut them out, and again, I just cut out 1 sheet, and I didn't cut these yet. Okay. And it says, what do you need to cut out in order, try to join them together, do they fit? And if you look, they don't really fit together. So you say no, or okay, you don't have to say no. It says, what do you need to cut out in order for the pieces to join together? So if you cut out the H on one end and you cut out the OH on another end, you'll notice that the pieces will fit together. Okay. Same thing here, I cut off these. So this is how monomers join together. You have to remove an H and an OH. And if you recall from last week, what is H and OH? It's H2O, right? So that's water. So this right here is going to be a carbohydrate. Okay, and this right here is going to be a water. So in order to bond these together, you had to take out a water from each of these. Okay? You don't have to color yours. You just need to kind of tape it down some way. Okay, I would just, you can do glue. This is not an art project. I'm not judging you on how neat and well you cut out things, just that you get the gist of it. So this is a carbohydrate. These are simple sugars. This is the monomer for a carbohydrate, and this is also, it's also called a subunit. But mono means one, and this is the carbohydrate. This is a polymer. Okay, so the polymer is a carb, and the monomer are these simple sugars. Another word for simple sugar is a glucose molecule. Okay, so that's basically what it is. And actually, when you're putting these together, this is called, you're taking out water and you're putting these together. So this process is called dehydration synthesis. Dehydration because you're taking out water, and synthesis because you are combining the monomers. Okay, so that's dehydration synthesis. So you're going to have to, I think it asks you to label the carbohydrate, lipid, protein, and water. So these are going to be the same thing. So this glycerol, you're going to have to cut out the H and the O, and this fatty acid, you're going to have to cut out the H, and you're going to go ahead and put those together. Okay, and that's going to be a water, and you're going to do the same thing with these other two. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and label these as waters. So 3 waters are going to come off, and they're going to, this is called, I don't know where this came from, but this whole thing is called a lipid. Okay? And a lipid is made out of glycerol and 3 fatty acids. So this is the structure or shape of a lipid. And the fatty acids are all different lengths. Some of them can be long and some of them can be short. Now, another term, so this is water coming out. When your body, so after your body wants to break apart, so let's say I eat my burger and it needs to break apart the fatty acid, the lipid that's in my sandwich, okay? And it's going to take that water and it's going to put it back on the ends and it's going to break it apart. Okay, so adding water to break these down, same thing here. If I want to break this carb apart from my bread so that I can use these simple sugars, I need to add water back. Okay, when I'm adding water back, that is called hydrolysis. And this is going to be in your reading. But lysis means to break apart, and hydro means to add water. Okay, you don't have to write that on this paper, but I just want to show you what the opposite of dehydration synthesis is. Dehydration synthesis is taking out water to put it together, and hydrolysis is putting in water, so that's hydro, and lysis is to break apart. So when I break apart a fatty acid, that's hydrolysis. Okay, but you're going to be combining these to make a lipid. Okay, we'll do that too. And last but not least are the amino acids. Same thing. You're gonna remove a hydrogen from one end and an oxygen from the other end, and you're going to combine it. So you'll have 2 waters here, and then you've made this chain of amino acids, which is called a protein. And these are the monomers. Okay, this is a monomer, the single unit amino acid, and this is a polymer. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And then you're going to be able to, I'm going to stop my share so I can come back to our lab. Okay, back to our, okay, so you're going to glue these on. Where did I go? No. You're going to glue these on, and then you're going to take a picture, paste it here, or you can attach it separately. You're going to fill in this chart, okay? And then here it's talking about what did you have to cut out to make them fit together? What is that called? Okay, remember you're taking water out, so it's dehydration something. And then what is the purpose of this reaction? So why would we need to put molecules together? Why would we need to do dehydration synthesis? In order to reassemble those monomers to make what we need for our body. Okay. Same thing here, what molecules need to break them apart? What do we have to add in order to break them apart? Okay. It's the same thing we took out. What is this called? Starts with an H. And what is the purpose of this? Well, when we eat macromolecules, we need to break them down so that our body can use them for the rebuild macromolecules that our body needs. Okay, which one did we not build? That would be the nucleic acids. Okay, the monomers of nucleic acids are nucleotides. And if you're not sure, this is all in the slideshow, so you can just scroll right back down. But the monomers are nucleotides. Okay. And then you can answer this question. So water, we needed to add water in order to break things apart, and we needed to take out water in order to put things together. And that's basically how our body uses and makes uses the macromolecules we take in to make the things that we need. So water is very important in that process. Okay, hopefully you are good to go. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or come to our Zoom tutoring. Have fun.